This is a little instrumental that I made up. There was a great guitar player. I've been friends with a lot of old guitar players, and most of my old friends are gone. There's only Honey Boy Edwards is left. He's 97, and we were never that tight, but but he's a cool old guy. But Robert Lockwood Jr. was one of my dear friends, and Robert Lockwood Jr., of course, was the stepson of Robert Johnson, the legend. And Lockwood, when Lockwood was 15 or 16, Robert Johnson was living with Lockwood's mama down in Mississippi or somewhere down there. And Lockwood went on, of course, he learned how to play guitar from Robert Johnson. And he recorded extensively for Chess Records in the 40s and 50s. He was a session man. He played guitar on about 50% of the records that came out of Chess Records. He recorded with Little Walter and Sonny Boy Williamson and Muddy and everybody. He was a very clever guitar player and a very cool, crotchety old man when I met him. I met him at 3 or 4 festivals, and he was one of these old guys that was standoffish. Some of them were really friendly. Reverend Gary Davis took me on the road when I got out of the service and is responsible for my life, I suppose. And Pink Anderson and Johnny Shines, they were nice. But Robert Lockwood was kind of standoffish, and that's just the way it is. He was a cranky old guy. And I read an article, there was a big blues magazine, Living Blues, they had a beautiful picture of Robert on the cover, and he told the story on everybody. You know, like they asked him questions like, well, did Johnny Shines actually learn how to play from Robert Johnson? He said, that blankety blank blank, mother blank, I didn't know. He told the dirt on anybody. He said Robert Johnson didn't hang with guitar players. He didn't like guitar players. The only guitar player he gave a blankety blank, mother blank about was Hacksaw Harney. And Hacksaw Harney was this legendary fellow that never recorded under his real name. What was his real name? I forget right now. Senior moment. But Hacksaw and his wife and his brother, they backed up female blues singers like I forget her name. There was a hit song down there in the Delta, 12 Pound Daddy, and it said on the record her name. Oh God. No, Memphis Minnie could play her own guitar. This gal didn't play the guitar, but these two brothers backed her up, and on the record it says her name, and then it says Pet and Can, and that was Hacksaw Harney and his brother. He had a lot of pseudonyms, and they never recorded solo because Hacksaw was tongue-tied. He couldn't sing it or talk too good, but he could play a guitar. So it said in the article about Robert was raving about Hacksaw. Hacksaw was discovered for a short window in 70 or 71, and he came out and did like 5 gigs. He stayed at my house in Greenwich Village and slept on a mattress on the floor. Me and my roommate, a great guitar player named Woody Mann, fantastic student of Gary Davis's, et cetera, great musician. And Hacksaw stayed with us, and that was pretty cool. It's a long story, I ain't got time to tell you now, but come see me on the road sometime. And so I get to do this festival with an acoustic blues festival in Maine, of all places. And every night there was an old guy and a young guy. I was a young guy back then, and I was paired up with Robert Lockwood, who I had met before, but who didn't pay any attention to me. So I walk in the club for the sound check, and a fellow says, Mr. Lockwood, he's sitting up on the stage in his suit, tuning it up. He says, this is Roy Bookbinder. He's going to be on the show with you, and he gives me the eye. I said, Mr. Lockwood, Hacksaw Harney stayed at my house for 2 nights. He looked at me, he said, he was the greatest guitar player in the Delta. And I looked at him right in the eye, and I said, Mr. Lockwood, I used to love to hear the man play the piano. He said, son of a blank, blank, mother blanket, you really knew him. I said, well, why would I make such a thing up? He said, you wouldn't believe the blankety blank, mother blankety blank, 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 blank stuff I've heard in my life. And he's going on and on. And then he started laughing. I'd never seen him laugh before. That was a good sign. He finished his sound check. I did mine. I went out to my little motorhome and I'm making an espresso. I rough it on the road, you know. And I see old Robert Lockwood standing outside looking at my window. So I opened the door. I said, you want to come in? He said, I'm coming in. And we became friends because I knew Hacksaw. And the next morning at 6 o'clock, there's a knock on my door, and I go running to the door thinking God knows who's there. Thank God I was wearing pajama bottoms. And it was old Robert Lockwood at 6:30 and his wife. And I said, oh, what's the matter? He says, we got to catch an early plane, and we just wanted to let you know, when you're in Cleveland, you come to our house and stay with us. You could sleep inside, and we got 3 bathrooms. I said, that's mighty kind of you, Mr. Lockwood. He said, you come see me. So then when I called him up, he was playing at Fat Fish Blues Restaurant in Cleveland, and I stopped in there, and I said, And Mr. Lockwood, you know who I am? He says, yeah, you're Hacksaw's buddy. He said, you coming over? I said, I'm coming. And I played Mr. Lockwood this song that I call Hacksaw. Hacksaw.